Welcome back to the network, y'all. This video right here, it's about dark stories from the music industry. And I got a lot of dark stories too, but I'm gonna save them for interviews. But let's get into this video and see what this guy's talking about.
And I learned very quickly that the music industry that I loved was not the music industry that I understood. And basically, in short, I saw the real video. I saw the behind the scenes stuff. I saw everything behind the scenes. So they're giving him 40,000 so that they can keep 60 to make it look legit. Like the rapper brought in all these fans and the fans are here. And that's why they buy fake numbers and all that type of stuff too. They want to legitimize their false business. YouTube, I have some stories I never thought I'd share. These are 3 of my stories about the music industry that I've never shared before. Now, this exposes the dark side of the music industry because it shows the actuality of the music industry. The stuff you hear about, the Illuminati, the dark parties, the this and the that, can actually be more true than you actually believe. So let's hop straight into the first story. The first story is a guy. So back in 2018, I did my own music videos. I was an independent artist showing other artists how to do it back in 2018. And so I flew to Miami, I flew to LA, and I did a whole bunch of music videos with video treatments, professional video people, professional, actors in the videos. And one of those actors happened to be Diana Manera, for example. Now, it turns out that when we did our video and all that type of stuff, and then a little bit after that, this other guy that hired her for a photo shoot, whatever he claims, a photo shoot, his name is, I think, Tony Tutini, if I'm saying that right, or Tony Tutoni or something like that. And he was this big guy on Instagram, had a ton of followers, and that like misogynistic, like use women as tables and use them as like dogs walking around women around his house, like that type of dark energy type stuff. If you're a family man like me, you understand how dark that energy is. Like you really have to hate a person to be able to put them through that agony and treat people like dirt like that. Just a dirty energy that he was putting out into the world. So I don't have any sympathy for his angle in this. So basically, what happened was he would hire this person, Diana Manera, to come do a photo shoot at his house. Now, keep in mind, this guy has nightclubs, car dealerships, real estate. Now, I want to say it this way. How do you think a lot of these people in LA get their money? If you think it's legit, they just come up working a job and magically have millions of dollars to buy real estate and flip that into a car dealership and flip that into a nightclub. I need you guys to really understand what's behind the music business. Where does the energy come from behind the artists? Okay, a lot of these artists and a lot of that LA activity is backed by the Mexican cartel. If you don't know the Mexican cartel, they basically run Mexico. They are just Mexico's authority at this point for the most part. Now, it's a criminal organization. They do a bunch of stuff. I don't know all the small details, but my point is a lot of that dirty money has to get cleaned up in America. So, how do they clean it? In cash run business, laundromats, nightclubs, some car dealerships. Real estate is known to clean money. You guys have heard the stories in hip hop. They'll take their hip hop money from the streets. Okay, they'll do their illicit activities on the streets and they'll clean it up in real estate and then try to flip the real estate. Always ask, where does the money start from? Where did this money come from? It doesn't come from nowhere. He got into a tiff with Diana Manera in this case, and it's all documented. You guys can go look it up. And basically, in short, I saw the real video. I saw the behind the scenes stuff. I saw everything behind the scenes. Okay. And what happened was, in reality, okay, I heard with his own voice, the dude, and I'm not accusing him of anything. I heard this with my own mouth. I saw the video, the original. I don't know if it got taken down or what, but the original video, okay, had this dude, this person telling the dog that was hopping on to Deanna or whatever. He said something like, go humper or go effer, something like that. I don't remember because it was so long ago. So this is all alleged. Okay, but I saw the actual video. I heard the audio. That's what was actually said. Now, the video that went online, it didn't have audio. So without any context, it just looks like a dog's just jumping on a girl. But when you hear the audio, you hear the owner telling the dog to go do something to the girl. I was editing the video and forgot a key detail. Now, if you guys look up the actual story, part of the story that was left out was that this video was from the guy's actual phone. So he's filming the dog doing this from his phone, and she had to get the video from his phone by asking him later down the line before she accused him of anything. But it just shows how sick these people are in LA. And of course, in the lawsuit, this all got thrown away and dismissed and all this type of stuff because he tried to sue her, countersuit, to sue her first because he knows she didn't have the money to fight against a millionaire. I saw the real deal, and that's what happens. And people get silenced like this. This is why the Diddy thing is so important. I don't want Diddy to be hurt. I don't want anybody to be hurt in these stories. It doesn't matter if they were my worst enemy. I'm not wishing hurt upon people. I'm just saying people are so afraid to address these people in LA and Hollywood people going to talk to the local cartel members to go handle their business over here. And then they feel scared because they never want to speak up because they feel like they'll be hurt. Okay. So this is real stuff about the real music industry. I'm bringing up that story because that's going to help you guys understand the foundation of the next stories. So what I'm trying to show you is that what's behind the music? What's behind the music? I didn't know the other dude personally. I don't know him. I just hired them as the girl is the actor, and a couple other actors in LA, and we did music videos. That was all I knew. But I knew behind the scenes. I heard the video. I saw the video. I heard the audio. Okay, so anyhow, the next story I have for you guys is a producer, and his name is Molly Mall, well known in LA. Okay, so he had a reputation. I would always wonder, I'm like, why do all these producers and artists go to this dude's house? Like, why is it his house? I would see, like, if I'm not mistaken, and I'll double check this in the video editing, I was like, why is Ray Sherman over their house? Why is this person over the house? It's like a weird mix of people. And it was always weird because I'm like, I knew the people going to his house, his parties. So I was like, it just felt weird, like the combination of people. Turns out this guy was running, and I don't know which state it was in, so I'm not here to be like, building any kind of case. It's all publicly explained online. So basically, this guy was running a prostitution ring, and I don't know if it was cross-state or interstate or whatever. I don't know. I'm just going by what the internet says in the data. My point in saying this story is that you guys may think that going to these parties is people trying to network and show up in person so that you can meet this producer who's going to tie you to this artist, and you'll get a placement with this artist.
I was invited into one mansion party in Florida out of my whole life. I didn't go. I turned it down because I know how weird the industry can get. It's always a catch to something dealing with music industry and dealing with people. It's a catch to it. It's either they trying to use you for money or they trying to set you up or something.
You don't even know the whole party is based on freaking trying to get the guys to buy the girls. And you don't even know that. And you're showing up thinking that you're going for networking. And this is what I mean is that if you don't know what's behind the music, you might be confused in the music industry. There's always something behind the music all the time, whether it's an advertiser, pharmaceutical company, some illicit activities, street criminals, whatever. There's always something behind the music fueling the money for the music. So always remember, it's not the music itself, it's the stuff behind it fueling it so that it could clean up the money that fueled it. For the most part, I'm talking about from the street angle, because think about hip hop. There were a lot of gatekeepers back in the day, and they were not handing black folks in hip hop checks. So how did the hip hop folks get checks to go on tour? The local drug dealer, the local, XYZ illicit activity person. They would fuel that artist. That would be the front man. And then the front man would go out into the industry, make the clean money. And even if they only got 10% of their money back, it's clean money now. Okay. So they would take that money and then reinvest it into clean assets. So they would take their dirty, illicit money they can't use because it's all tracked. And if they use it, then it'll all be traced back to them. So they have to clean it up through some kind of false operation. Okay. You guys know this is like a racket, and you guys have seen the different cases out there. I'm not here to like bring up all this different information for you guys. Most of you guys are going into music with the passion. Most of you guys are going in with love, and you are thinking that everybody else in this game is on that same frequency, and they're not. And that's the scary part. When you face those things and you realize that, oh, this is what's really happening, you realize you're not even playing the same game. I just want to give hope to people to understand that there's a difference. I'm not saying everybody in the music industry is this way. I'm saying that I just want you to understand what actually goes down. You guys have heard about the big stories. But here's another story that I heard on Clubhouse, and this is all alleged, but I heard it from the person themselves on Clubhouse. No record of this, but we heard it in audio form. The lady was being very vulnerable, and she said she would be going to those Molly Mall parties, and she was one of the madams. So if you don't know what a madam is, they basically recruit the other girls or manage the other girls, and keep them there. So she basically recruited other girls to come to the parties to do the illicit activities in that specific state. And she was telling me how it was way more than what it looked like. It looked like a music party where everybody showed up, but in reality, it was this girl bringing in that girl bringing in that girl, because they all wanted to get to the rappers. Because when you're in LA, something that you might not understand if you haven't gone to LA is, one, the energy is very different, but two, you have millionaires and you have people scraping the bottom. So the people scraping the bottom say, how can I get around the millionaires? The people scraping the bottom say, oh, I know X, Y, and Z, this girl that this millionaire might like. So they bring X, Y, and Z girl to the parties to try to entertain the millionaire, because the millionaire can't go find that girl by themselves. They find that valuable. So they're almost trading relationships in LA as if it's like capital or money. And that's the weird part about LA, is that you really only understand that when you get there. You don't realize how much women are treated almost like a drug. It's just the weirdest thing. If you go to LA, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Now, the next story that you guys have all heard about is the Diddy story. Okay, I'm not here to bash anybody's brand. I'm not here to wish death upon anybody. I'm not here to wish any harm on any party. And it's all these stories. I'm just telling you guys the reality, because this story, the reason it was so significant is not because it was Diddy. Diddy. It's because all of the stories that I just told you guys have been going on. It's just that the people felt so small that they could never share their stories and they felt like they would always be harmed. So the thing about Diddy, and I'm just using his words, or his name, I should say. The thing about him that made this bigger is because we have now somebody who's well known, and then we have so many stories that were hidden that are now adding up to the well known person. So now they can go address all those other not well known people that were doing stuff like this. So we're going to see a chain of events in 2024 and 2025. Not that I'm wishing harm on anybody. What this meant is a symbol to say that the small guy won't get crushed by talking about the big guy anymore. All these stories that I told you are documented. You can go look all the stories up. The Tony Tatuni and Deanna Manera. Look that up. You can look up the Molly Mall. Look that up. Okay. You can look up the Diddy thing. It's so well covered now. There was a producer and artist. His name was Lil Rod. Now I met Lil Rod on Clubhouse. Everybody I met on Clubhouse, we had like our own, we call it the Clubhouse fam. If you met on Clubhouse, it was almost like going to Harvard. I understood for the first time in my life what the network effect was because I went to Clubhouse and I had so many different business relationships. So on Clubhouse, like I said, it's like the Harvard network effect. It was like true social media, true networking, true everybody trying to help other people. It was the most helping place I've ever been because it popped up during the pandemic. And one thing that humbled the millionaires and that humbled the people down here was that we're all human and we met here. And the millionaires were trying to help the people here because they realized all that money and fame and wealth doesn't mean anything if the person down here can't help them protect it. And so it was the most vulnerable environment during the pandemic where you had literally billionaires on stage with myself. We had, I think it was $1 billion net worth on stage. I was doing public speaking and I was just alongside giants. Why was that possible? It's because one, I built relationships. And then two, it's because we were all humbled to try to help the next person because it was so crazy during the pandemic times. But all I'm saying is in the story, we met Lil Rod on Clubhouse. So I never met him in person, but Lil Rod was kind enough and he was so enthusiastic, okay, to share me his album before it even came out, to share me his music. And he's a masterful musician. He's not just some average dude in the music industry. He's a master at his craft, like a super master at his craft.
Changing your baby is easy.
Man, the dude saying is real.
Until it isn't. New Pampers Swaddlers 360 has a stretchy waistband for easy changing as babies grow, so nothing gets in the way of this. New Pampers Swaddlers 360.
This thing? It's what's going on inside of me. It's my moderate to severe ulcerative colitis. It wasn't always this calm. You see, when everyone...
And I just remember he sent me his album early and let me hear it. And I was like, this is fantastic. Like it got me inspired to make music again. It was just so well done and so crafted. It was telling his story about his childhood and everything. And this is before the whole Diddy thing. So I didn't like pick up on it, but I picked up energetic imprints because after that point, I saw Lil Rod got recruited by Diddy. Now, initially, I don't think I thought it was strange. I just thought, he must have met his talent out of Clubhouse. But it did seem something felt off. And I'm not saying it felt weird. I'm just saying something felt off when I started watching Lil Rod kind of go around with Diddy and do different things. It just felt, I'll kind of put it in a word that doesn't really explain what I'm saying, almost too good to be true. Not that Lil Rod didn't deserve it, but it's like, why this person just immediately get next to Lil Rod and immediately elevate him that fast? It's because Lil Rod's super talented, but also all the other stuff you guys found out. So in doing all this, I'll say it this way, and keep in mind, guys, the reason I don't like sharing these stories is because Lil Rod's family was put into jeopardy. His life was put into jeopardy after revealing what he saw at the Diddy thing. Okay, so this is not like a menial story, and I'm saying it cautiously because I don't even want to put him in some kind of jeopardy by re-bringing the story up. So let me take a breather for a second. I really gotta just breathe for a second because I think people who come into the music industry, they don't understand how much people sacrifice to get success. And it's not that they'll sacrifice this person and join the Illuminati and join some fraternity. It's just that the stuff that goes on, they can't about it. They just have to take it and just hurt and hurt and hurt. And sometimes they lose a lot, but they can't say anything because they're bound by those golden handcuffs. And, the top three companies, Sony, Universal, Warner, they're keeping everybody else on their field of playing, and not saying that they condone any of this. They created the playing field for this. I'll just kind of keep it short because I really didn't want to tell this story, but you guys have seen or heard of the allegations that Lil Rod brought up against the Diddy situation. He said he was in a studio with Diddy one time, and this is all alleged, and you guys can look up many videos with the picture proof and all that. Okay, so Lil Rod apparently saw, according to his story, and I'm going off a rough memory here, he was in a studio with Diddy and I believe somebody else, and he said he heard they went to the bathroom or something with some artist, and they heard a gunshot go off. According to Lil Rod's account, I don't know what was fact-checked and what was not fact-checked. I just remember seeing a picture. They think that Lil Rod was with Diddy when he had to handle some kind of business, or whoever handled the business shot some artist, and the artist Apparently, the studio didn't want to report it as an incident, so they said that it was a drive-by or something like this. Now, we're not going to get into the obvious facts about that. We're not going to get into that. But my point is, you guys can probably tell it's hard for me to tell the story because I don't want to hurt anybody's family by telling the story. This is all public information, by the way. So Lil Rod claims that he was with Diddy during the studio shooting of another person who was, I can't remember if he was taken to the hospital or not, but they claimed it was a drive-by. I'm going to leave it there because that's just one of the many stories that Lil Rod brought up. Now, Lil Rod was this close to Diddy, taking him around, seeing him on boats. I was like, okay, it just felt odd to me as an outsider. Okay. And then it turns out Lil Rod saw all the behind the scenes about what was going on about Diddy. You guys have seen the videos about Diddy. I'm not here to attack Diddy. I'm saying that I want you guys to understand what really goes into the music business. There's energy from the outside that uses music to push their agenda. Music itself is rarely made to make money by itself. It's always this outside entity or agenda using music to push their agenda. And that's all I can really say about that. Even speaking on Lil Rod was so pure in heart when he sent me his album. He was so happy about music. I've never seen somebody that happy about their music. So when I heard him tied up in this scenario, I'm like, he is the most pure person I know in music as far as his love for music. For him to get caught up in all that Diddy stuff, it was like, wow, this is really sinister. And the crazier part is that I knew the person. That's what made it real to me. Like all the other stories were like, whatever. But this story made it real to me. All right. So the last kind of thing I'll hint at is just the BMF story. You guys can look up BMF. You know, Young Jeezy, all the BMF artists, DJ Cannon and DJ Drama, pardon me, you know, in the whole camp and what happened with those guys and what happened and all that type of stuff. But BMF was a huge force. Now, they were doing illicit activities. They used music to promote those illicit activities and to sell more of those illicit goods. So you guys might not understand this. And here's my last point. The reason in the 90s and 2000s we had so many like drug dealing rappers is because they were pushing their own product. They were making the music so that people would show up to a live venue. And I'm not saying that they didn't love music. I'm not saying that they didn't want to just perform. I'm saying that some people, and most of the time in rap culture, they would do these live events. Now here, let me just go through the whole chain. Okay. So you have somebody from the streets who does real estate. Okay. Now that real estate person bought a local bar, a local venue. We'll say a venue instead of a bar because you need a certain license for a bar. But let's just say a local venue. Now that street money goes into real estate, aka a venue. Now they need to create this cash flow for the venue, okay? Because the whole point of cleaning money is to make their money back, okay? So what they will do is hire the rappers of their hood. You know, bring in who X, Y, and Z, because what they're going to do is take the street money from the street, use it to say that, hey, we paid this artist $40,000 for the night, and this artist brought us $100,000 for the night, so that they could say that all this activity happened in their venue that didn't really happen, like all these, you know, made up charges for alcohol they didn't sell or, you know, food they didn't sell, and they'll say, oh, that was the artist who brought in all this business to our venue. We just have so much money now because the artist. So anyhow, what I'm saying is, think of it this way. I know I'm kind of going off on a weird analogy, but visualize with me. You have street money, okay? Street money is illicit. That means it can't go through the clean money system without being cleaned up, okay? So they clean it through this thing called a venue, a real estate. They're going to use the venue to then hire the rapper. What is the rapper? The rapper is an affiliate, a front to cover up the illicit activity because they need to clean money. So let's say they bring in 100,000, okay? They need to clean 100,000. They're going to say, okay, we'll pay a rapper 40,000 because that's their way of using that rapper to be the front. They'll cut him in so that he doesn't snitch, basically. So they're giving him 40,000 so that they can keep 60 to make it look legit. Like the rapper brought in all these fans and the fans are here. And that's why they buy fake numbers and all that type of stuff too. They want to legitimize their false business. So always remember, guys, music was pushed by the mob. Even if you go to Vegas right now and you walk the strip, you'll see a lot of concert promoters giving out free tickets. That's because they want to fill up the venue as if they sold real tickets. They use that storefront to bring in the rapper. The rapper brings in fans, whatever that means. They inflate all the numbers and say they made a ton of money when they really didn't. They're just cleaning up that dirty money from the street. Okay, the rapper takes a little bit of the dirty money and the venue takes a little bit of the dirty money, and then they reinvest it in the next thing, whatever that thing is, whether it's real estate, more kind of shell corporations, or if it's more rappers. Okay, whatever the thing is, the rappers were just the front. And I'll never forget, I lived outside of Philadelphia, and I'll never forget going to a show in Ardmore where I forget what we were doing. We were just kind of being there to be at the venue. But then there was an artist performing, and they had like a little buddy in the crowd going, yo, man, you want some X, Y, and Z, yo? Hey, man, you want some of this, you know, something, meet me in the bathroom, yo, meet me in the bathroom. You want some of this, whatever. And it's some dude that they just hired with the band or the group to pitch the illicit things to the crowd. What I'm saying to you guys, and hopefully you're getting the picture, is that in hip hop at least, and I'm not going to put this on every genre, was that they would use the street money to get the venue or the real estate, use the real estate to bring in the rapper, the front man. The rapper brings in fans to clean up the dirty money. Let's say they do have actual fans who are coming to see them. Then they bring in their street dudes who have the illicit things on hand to pitch to the people in the bathrooms and wherever else they want to buy those illicit things. They don't sit on a corner and wait for people to pull up anymore. They go to these different live events and they take that money from the real estate venue. Okay, and then they put it back into the artist's career to go to other venues that are networked in their little network to clean up even more money, or they would go to the venue, use their artist to clean up the money, and then use that money to do other nefarious things. I don't know all the business behind, their side of things. You guys can watch Ozark. All right. Living outside of Philadelphia, I learned very quickly what BMF meant. And I learned this in like middle school, high school. How the heck does a person know in high school about BMF? That's how prevalent it was in Philly. And I learned very quickly that the music industry that I loved was not the music industry that I understood. It was something else. It was street crime. It was street money cleaned.
That's what I noticed. I noticed something was different than what I expected. That's why I went a different path.
Up by music. Okay, you ever wonder why an act blew up and then disappeared? It's because the street money disappeared. The fuel for that person's act disappeared, okay? And then they disappeared or they became less relevant. So once I understood the music industry in this way, I stopped chasing the celebrities because celebrity is manufactured so that you don't understand what they're actually doing behind the scenes. Celebrities created as a front man. The front man is always used to clean up. They use the word straw man as well. So the front man is used to clean up the behind the scenes stuff to make it look legitimate. This happens in so many forms in the music industry. They use celebrity on these platforms like Spotify to get you to think that you can become a celebrity, so that you join Spotify, you give up all your IP to Spotify, you make pennies while, streaming farms and all the money's kind of going back to the top. So they're defeating their competition and they're making you think that you're going to be the next celebrity by going on their platforms, when in reality, the celebrities are the front men to get you to join the platform. You see how celebrities and rappers are always the front men for some other agenda? The rapper in the venue scenario was used as the front man to clean up the street money. It's always a front for something, okay? And once you understand that about the music industry, you'll understand real from fake very quickly, because you'll go, where did this money come from? Where did this energy come from? Where did their following come from? Okay, if it's all in the network that was cleaning up the money to begin with, then how is this even legit? I'm gonna leave it here. I know I kind of went on and on and on, but I wanted you guys to know the truth. These are real stories, and it just blows my mind how people still buy into the fantasy of the music industry. I'm going to teach you guys how to do legit business, online business, and how to build influence so that you can change the world for the better. I learned 3 things: show love, be filled with the spirit of truth, and complete your assignment. Those are the only 3 things you need to follow. Show love, be filled with the spirit of truth, and complete your assignment. If music is in your heart, that's part of your assignment. You could use that as fuel to get to your destination. All right, guys, subscribe if you're new, like this video. If you guys want more reading and more mindset stuff, I'm going to put up a website